Hi, it's Janet Fitch, Writing Wednesday, and today I'm here with April Davila, who was a former student of mine, has a novel out yesterday. It just came out, 142 Ostriches, although, of course, this is backwards. It's a beautiful book, really fun, ranching in the high desert, and the herd is ostriches, so it's cool. She'll be at Diesel tonight on the west side, and she'll be at Skylight tomorrow night on Thursday. And welcome to Writing Wednesday. April is a Scrivener maven. So I did last week, I did organizing your, different ways to organize your research. And I thought, gee, maybe April would come and talk about Scrivener with us, which is the best. I think it's the best organizing tool.
It's really great. It's really, I like Maven. I'm going to go with Maven. I used to call myself a Scrivener nerd, but the way that you can use it to collect everything in one place.
Yeah.
So that you can find it when you need it and you don't get derailed trying to find that like one piece of something that you need to write this scene. And
yeah. Because writing, as we know, you're looking at, you might have spent 5 years in research.
Yeah. And
how do you hold all that research in one place so that you can easily toggle back and forth between...
or even have them side by side so you can be looking at the thing while you're writing. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you can organize your... Now, I tried Scrivener, and my readers will be not surprised. That I had one question about using Scrivener to send stuff. Like if I had to send stuff to my editor, the way I knew how to do it was to pull it out and put it in Word and then send it, which is kind of a drag. Do you still have to do that?
They're exporting. There are a lot of different ways to export in Scrivener, and people... There are whole blogs dedicated to exporting because you can do it for self-publishing, you can do all the formatting, and I know there are ways to put it in, say, a draft format for an editor, but I actually tend to do what you do and just put it in Word.
So do you do all your drafts in Scrivener or just the first one?
For this book, I did 99% in Scrivener. And then when they sent me like final edits, and I was basically just doing like the typo corrections, those I just did in Word so that I could do the track changes and they could follow, because my editor doesn't work in Scrivener, so I have to kind of meet them where they're at.
So Scrivener is, did you have all of your drafts separately on Scrivener?
Oh, that's a good question.
Or did you overwrite chapters?
So when I first started writing, because I didn't know what I was doing,
Who does?
Each draft would be so dramatically different that I would actually save it as a new file. And that was actually, I probably did five drafts just in Word before I discovered Scrivener, of completely different drafts. And so by the time I got into Scrivener, I think what I would do, so there are ways where you can do screenshots where you can save something before you make changes to it. But that's only good for each file. And so what I would tend to do... Yeah, and you have
hundreds of pages in a draft.
Yes, and so what I would end up doing, I tend to write through drafts. So I would write through the draft, and then what I would do is I would copy all of those into like a save file, and then I would rewrite the whole draft. But if I needed to go back to the original
it's still
version,
there.
It was...
And you can toggle to it.
Yeah.
Well, that's great, because as somebody who, might have made a lot of changes and go, it was better the other way... There's a way to do that, because I use a backup system called, what's it called? Backblaze.
Oh, yeah.
That you can also search for different, but it'd be nice if, sometimes you want to have material that you've pulled out to have it available in case you want to stick it back in.
Yeah. Or like a particularly nice description, but then it doesn't fit in that spot. Be like, I don't want to lose that.
So you have a file for...
What I tend to do is I'll pull those out and I'll paste them into the notes section on the side.
Well, here we go. We'll get to see. So I'm going to take a note on that so you can show us where the note, notes. All right. Okay, so hi guys.
Hello.
So what we do is I've pulled a bunch of stuff for a pretend novel that we're going to create a novel on Scrivener. I'm say a novel about LA in the 60s and 70s. Why would I be interested in that? I don't know. But I have a lot of stuff.
Really interesting time. Like, why wouldn't
So
you?
we're going to pull photographs and put them in research. We're going to pull websites. We're going to have stories, like pretend chapters. And maybe we can see notes for the cut material, to save cut material. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to turn this around. We're going to use my computer, and April has made the cursor really big, so she'll point to stuff, and sometimes we'll just pick up the phone and look at, get a little closer. So April is going to be in charge here, and so let's build a novel in Scrivener.
All right.
All right, here we go. So let's turn this around. All right.
Get in there.
Turn it around. Come on, you. This is so jerry-rigged. You're going to laugh if you could see how this is set up. But here we go. And we can see your comments even though this is turned around. So here we go.
Yeah, so if anything I'm saying is unclear or you want me to do it again, just drop it in the comments and I'll try to navigate all of that. So we're going to start with Scrivener. If you go here and open, you get the option for open new. We're going to go with fiction since that's what we're talking about.
One thing can I say, is Scrivener free?
Oh, no, it's $45, but if you use my name, you can get a discount. I was an affiliate for a while, and I did check with them, so my name is still good for 20% off. You can just April Davila, all one word. And maybe we can post that in the notes or something? Yeah. All right. So it's not free, but we don't have a lot of expenses as writers, so I feel like it's worth every penny.
Oh, yeah. And it's Literature and Latte is their website, or used to be.
It is, yeah.
So it's not a huge corporation, which is awesome.
And they're really nice. They're really responsive. If you have a question, you can just email them and they actually get back to you.
Fred.
They're good guys.
I have done that. Cool. Yeah. Okay, so let's set up a novel. Let's call it, should we name it?
Yeah, what should we call it?
Let's call it Hitchhiking on the Sunset Strip.
Hiking, one word? Hiking.
On the Sunset Strip.
Yes.
I'll retitle it when I actually have a title for my book.
Okay, and should we just keep it in documents? Do you want it on the desktop, or does it matter? Let's put it on the desktop just in case we need to find the file here. Okay, so we create that. And what we'll open up is a starter Scrivener project. There we go. All right. So if you're brand new to Scrivener, the first thing that pops up is this novel format. I don't really use this. Some people find it helpful. I don't. So I usually just immediately, I just put that to trash. And then up here you have the different view
nobody
modes.
Ever reads tutorials.
Nobody ever reads this.
We just try stuff and make a mess.
We figure it out.
I learned that from kids. Because I, thought you had to read the manual and stuff. And people are saying, nobody ever reads manuals anymore. We just try things. I'm from the era where you try the things wrong and it locks up.
Right.
And you have to reboot your computer. It doesn't happen that way anymore.
No, everything's very forgiving now. You can back out. You can undo.
Thank God. All right. There's our novel.
And there's nothing here.
A little framework.
Yeah.
And then what happens?
So what I just did there was I moved out of corkboard mode into page view so we can see what we're uploading. Right now there's nothing here, but they do start you off with a chapter folder and a scene. So what we'll do is we will upload something for us to work with.
Yeah, I've set aside some stories that I had set in this era so we could import some documents, because usually you've started and then you're going, oh, I need to organize this stuff.
Yeah. So we will go on files here. Oh, and then you're going to have to remind me where we put this. It was in desktop, stories.
It's in documents. It was hidden down in the corner.
So
Number
I
1.
can't drag and drop it from here though, so I got to find it in the Finder window. Do you want to do that?
Well, the photos, let's see, the
documents, right? And then
that
stories.
was it. You had it. That what was there was there. Under stories.
The others I can drag and drop, but this one I will.
Current docs. You're going to see what a mess my computer is. Stories. And then they're at the top. They have one. Okay, so show us how to...
So you find the file that you want to import. You just click import, and it will take a moment to convert it. Let me make sure we're angled well there. And you'll see everything is just right there. And a lot of people come to Scrivener, with a work in progress, but very rarely do you download Scrivener first. So this is how you would get a work in progress into Scrivener. And then what you can do, because you'll see it just dropped it all in one spot here. I'm going to go ahead and delete this blank one that they gave us.
And you don't have to close anything. You don't open and close documents.
Right.
Everything is always open.
Right.
Which I love about Scrivener.
It's great.
You don't have to open anything. So it's 10 times faster.
It is.
So does this need a title, or did it title it?
Well, it will give it whatever the title of the document was that you uploaded right here. Mm-hmm. And then let's say this is like 300 pages, right? And you want it to actually be more than one file. You can put your cursor anywhere in the document, go up to Documents, and hit Split at Selection. And this, you'll see it creates a second. So we'll just do Part 2 here. And so that's a great way if you're just getting started to break up your chapters, to start to organize. And one of the things I like about Scrivener is it allows you to organize in any way you want. So if you want them all just to be straight files, if you want to organize them into folders, there's lots of ways you can organize.
So show how easy it is to toggle between Part 1 and Part 2.
Oh, just here.
There's Part 1. There's Part 2. There's Part 1. So you don't have to open anything.
No.
It's the best thing about this.
And you can do them side by side. If you hit this little button up here, this is called, let's make sure you guys can see, the split screen button right here.
Here, I can push this close.
So, and then you'll see right here at the top, this says it's the same file. Why is it flashing?
Don't know.
Just...
Stop it.
All right, we'll deal with that. But you can also, if you click in the second window, you can go to Part 2 and you can have them side by side. So sometimes you're like writing in Part 2 and you're like, ooh, how did I describe that guy in Chapter 1? You can come back up here. Right. You can have them side by side.
I do that with research. Often the research is on the bottom and the stop it. What in the heck is going on?
It's like confused.
Stop doing that. Oh, I must have touched something. Ugh. This new phone just sucks. Sorry. Anyway, so we have this, and I don't know why the flash is on. Stop it.
Did we put like something on the side, did we?
Yeah, I did. I don't know what it was, though, and I don't want to turn off I'll just stop it. Oh, well, this is DIY. Stop it. Oh, it's hitting this. There we go. All right. That's going to stop. Sorry.
We got it. We figured it out.
DIY. So this split screen thing is up in the corner.
There.
On it looks like a double layer cake. Yeah. And that just splits the screen in half, so you can have research on the bottom and the chapter on the top, or 2 chapters, and they toggle back and forth so easily. I think this is the best thing about this thing. All right, so let's say we want to put some research in there.
Yeah, let's.
I've got some photos ready for you.
So here's your research folder.
And so research is on so this way you have the chapters are on the top. and the research is on the second half, and you can toggle back and forth between them. What does that storefront look like again?
Yeah.
So let's import some photos.
Okay, so you can either, let me zoom back out so everyone can see what I'm doing here. When you're in the research folder, meaning you've clicked on it here, you can either go to add, and it'll automatically drop something. Really quick, this sample output, I'm just going to move it out of the way so we're not looking at it. So it'll give you an untitled document. So if you have something that you want to copy and paste into here, or you want to type ideas into here, or this is the most basic level.
So let's type some ideas.
Okay, so we'll do most basic.
Let's say Sunset Strip, Fairfax Avenue. It's a list.
Oh, okay. I'll go here.
Fairfax Avenue. These are just locales. The Park. Of course, you need the Park if you're doing the 60s. Aardvark Records. House Behind a House. Laurel Canyon. Okay, that's good enough. That's a novel right there.
Okay. So
right.
that's one bit of research, almost more like notes to yourself, but research is a great place to keep them. And then, so if you go back, so what I did here, instead of coming up to the drop down, so if you control click on the icon, it gives you options. But what I usually do is control click on the research. So you control click here. Oops, my bad. Wrong thing. And it'll give you an option to add.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I find this is a more useful menu.
Wow.
So you can do a new text folder, which is like what we just did. So it's a blank one. You can do a new folder. So you can create folders inside. Again, this is, so you could do like a locations research folder. And then, we just brainstormed a location. So maybe we drop that in there.
So let's get some photos in there.
Okay, so you can click on that, and again, control click.
Control click. That is so cool.
Add, and so there's a couple of ways to do it. We're going to do an existing file. Oh, and I didn't realize this was how. You know what we can do, actually? Let's try this. Because we actually have some files set aside.
You were almost there anyway, so let's just go.
Okay, we'll just do that then. Okay, so we'll go to add existing file.
Okay, so go to pictures.
Pictures.
And then we'll go to desktop photos.
Desktop photos.
And then all those ones.
All right, so
Can you do a bunch of them at once? Can you just
let's do one,
them all?
and then let's try more than once. Let's try all these. And just see. I've never tried that. Let's see what it does. There you go.
There you go.
If you have some on your desktop, you can absolutely do them all at once.
And then you can click, and then each one of them becomes a separate file. So you can just look for the beatniks, you can Courage Dresses.
These are great.
One Nation Under Groove. That's Hitchhikers. It's just too big for the...
Oh, and if you double click on it, you can scroll it down.
There we are. See, there's me and my friends.
Is that you?
There's me and my friends at Fairfax High, hitchhiking on the Strip. No, it's not me. But that I had that purse. I mean, these are people I knew. This is like my era. So.
Okay, so we got all our images in here, and again, you can organize them however you want to with this. Let's add a few more things, and then we'll talk about some of the things you can do with them once you have all this research in here. So we've got our research here.
We have some websites.
Okay, let's talk about that. So we'll go to add web page. And this might be like one of my favorite Scrivener tricks.
And those are in the corner.
So this one, source, yeah. All right, we'll start with cruising down the Sunset Strip. Yay. Counterculture moves.
That's my childhood.
So if you click on the URL and copy it, and I'll just shrink this back down. So you'll see here that Scrivener has prompted you for a URL. You can paste that in there. Now, if you've already, I'll show you on the next one, but if you've already copied the URL on this, it'll automatically fill, which is nice. But we'll just do Sunset Strip. You name it something that'll help you remember it. And then if you watch, it takes a second to process it, but this is super cool.
That big swirling beach ball is always a concern. But that's cool.
Because it downloads the entire website for you. So all the information is here. All the links are here. If you look down,
and they're live. Are the links?
They're all live. Yeah. So you can click that, and it'll automatically open the website.
Oh wow! So you're not cutting and pasting. You're actually using a live web.
And the cool thing is, if this website ever ceases to exist, you'll still have this.
Whoa!
So if you find some obscure piece of research, and you're like, I can't lose this, it'll be there. And then also it gives you the original URL way down here at the bottom. I don't know if you guys can see that very well, but the original URL is down here. So if you ever need to go back to the website, you just click it and it automatically opens it for you. In fact, I just opened it again since I clicked on it. So this is probably one of my favorite things. And actually, it used to be that the links weren't live because I think they originally conceived of this as something to minimize distractions. So that you could download it and have it, but then I think people complained that you couldn't click on the links in it. So now all the links are live.
We're so spoiled.
We're pretty
everything
spoiled.
Live. Damn it. Yes.
And then, so let's do one more of those.
Research was so hard.
I don't know how you wrote
days.
anything before the internet,
Historical
honestly.
research was brutal. You know, you use the Xerox machine a lot. And you know,
oh my gosh.
You had files and you had binders, which I still use binders.
So I'll just show you really quick, like on this one, what was Los Angeles like in the 60s? If you click on this and highlight it before, and then you're like, oh, I got to keep this. What do you mean
highlight it?
So just copy the URL.
Yeah.
So, and then you come to research and say add website or web page. You'll notice that it's already autofilled.
Wow. So
it'll automatically fill if you've like recently copied a URL.
Wow.
So LA
1960s.
1960s. And we'll just go ahead and download one more. And then I'll show you another trick I do. There we go. I just love that. It's so cool. Oops, I accidentally hit a link. Sorry.
Well, don't order anything.
Yes. No, I won't. Okay, so let's take one of these untitled files that we've created. And let's say you have some research here. We pulled up this website, the Source Family. So a cult I might have joined. So here's this charismatic leader guy.
Father Yod. He's pretty charismatic. That's for sure.
I don't know anything about.
That's the Source restaurant?
Oh.
Sunset Strip?
Okay.
Oh my God, there's a documentary about them. It's amazing. I have a book about them too.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say this is quite a long piece, but let's say you find, this is actually right here. I just need this quote. I don't really need the rest of this. You can copy that little piece, and this is how I use my blank documents a lot of the time, and just paste it in here.
And then call it Father Yod.
Yeah, and so that I don't forget, I will usually jump back and just copy the URL.
Just so so you know where it came from.
Right, just in case I need it. And I think I screwed that up a little. Let's see here. Let's refresh that so I can grab the...
Yeah, that's an organizational thing.
Yeah, and I mean, there's
so
no reason
you lose your research.
Right. You could upload the whole website, but if you know you don't need all of it, sometimes
there's too much.
It's too much, and then you can't find the thing you're looking
for. And I
have
been doing screenshots.
Oh, because, I do that a lot too.
But this is easier.
Yeah.
This is much easier than the screenshots.
And you could always import the screenshots like this, or like sometimes if I'm reading a research book and most of it I know I'm not going to use, but I find that one thing, I'll take a picture with my phone and upload it as an image.
Oh, wow.
So that I know what it is.
Yeah, it's really helpful. I if I'm reading I was telling them about JSTOR, which is a tremendous the letter J, STOR, is the historical archive online, and there are public portals through your library, and you can get all this academic papers on just about everything in the whole world. And you get these long, like I had a character who was working on, my character was working on in a village to pay the midwife back in Chimes of the Lost Cathedral. And I needed to know about the system of agriculture in a peasant village in Russia.
Right.
Like what order of crops and how do they harvest them, and I mean, physically, how is it done?
Yeah.
And so I was reading like really dense agricultural material about peasant Russia, and I didn't need all of it. I just needed bits, and so I didn't know how to just highlight and move.
Yeah.
So I just was screenshots, and it was all over the place.
It can be overwhelming.
It was a real mess.
Yeah.
So this is like such a godsend.
All right, so we've got photos, we've got documents, we've got web pages.
All right, so show me like how I would work on a novel chapter, and then use a photograph.
Okay, so let's come up here. We're working on part 1A.
Yeah.
There's a few different ways, and it really depends on your preference.
So it's like I'm writing this, and I want to be able to describe, those kids reading. And, I want to describe the light and what they look like and what they're, how they are clustered. And so I want to pull up the say, whatever it was called, the Beatnik reading group.
Okay, this one right here.
Yeah.
Beatnik Book Club. So one of we can use the thing we talked about, this split screen up here.
Let's do that just to show how easy this is.
And so this is where you're writing. Let's say you're writing on this paragraph here. Yeah. If you click in this window down here, you can jump around to your images. And you can change how, if you click in between them, you can move it up and down.
Yeah, so I want to remember, who is talking to who. Phyllis and Jerry are talking, and Brian is just concentrating on his manuscript. And
a little
then
too hard. I think he's pretending not to be into her. It's like
and I want to get the gestures. I want to get how this guy is huddled. And I can toggle and find that photograph without having to open and close, and close.
Or close this.
Things.
Like if you don't want to lose the thing you're writing, like when you're actually writing. So you can be typing here while you're looking at your picture. Another way you can do this. So this is great. Sometimes I feel like I have to shrink my writing so much to see the picture that I don't like having so little space there.
Right.
So another trick you can do is if you click on the image and you drag it up to where's yours is set up a little quick reference, this quick reference window. It'll pop it up on the side, which I find really handy, because then if you can click here to kind of you guys can't see what I'm doing, but if you shrink, so
you can turn
this window becomes a window that you can move and size. And again, if you double click it, you
quick
can
reference.
Yeah,
that is a cool trick right there.
So it's this window right here, and it actually says quick reference, and depending on what version you're in, it looks a little different. In version Scrivener 3.0 and higher, it doesn't actually say quick reference, it's just a window with the pencil. I think PC is a little different too, but you'll get the idea. And you can do that with anything here. So you can do it.
There's the reason to have something bigger than a tiny postage stamp computer like mine.
Yeah, my husband has like 2 giant screens, and that's too much.
Well, I need to take it. It's my little brain.
So you can do it with the websites too. That will take. So I'm going to stay. You'll notice that I don't leave my writing. If I were to click on, if you just click, it jumps, right? But if you click and hold and drag it up to that quick reference window, it opens it on the side or above, and then you can move it to the side.
Wow.
And so again, you can really move it out of your way, but still have it up while you're working.
Wow. So I'm looking for questions from you guys. It's good to see y'all. Yeah, looking for questions. If anybody has anything in particular. I had one question from you, Sayward, which was, I have a basic working knowledge of Scrivener. I've used it exclusively for 2 years. However, I cannot figure out how to keep my formatting when compiling and exporting my files. I formatted as Times New Roman in Scrivener, but when compiled, it changes to Courier. Any tips on how to avoid this? So exporting means like going back to Word.
Yeah, or anything that takes it out of Scrivener. You can directly to print, you can put it directly into like a web format. There's a lot of, or you can export directly into a paperback format. Again, if exporting is something you have a lot of questions about, there are whole video blogs or vlogs about it, but I can, that one I can address. I know that one.
So let's say we want to move this back into Word.
Yes.
On my desktop.
So depending on what version you're in, there will be a button that's called compile. It may not actually have the word compile, but it's almost always a little page with an arrow of some kind. And if it's not for whatever reason in your header, which it should be, you can always go to file and then down to compile.
So what does compile mean? It's just getting it ready to
compile is
put
like
it somewhere else.
Yeah, set your preferences for the export.
Okay.
So let's do all options. So let's make sure you guys can see here. Okay.
So we can make it a little larger for you.
Yeah. Fungus. Yeah, that window. Okay.
All right.
So it's actually, your question's a good question, because one of the things I like about Scrivener is that you can format your work however you want. And then it doesn't matter, because when you go to print it or to export it in any way, you set how it prints here. So in print settings, you can choose your layout types. Let's see, formatting.
But fonts.
Where are the fonts? Quick font override. So this, if you are finding that you're setting things to times while you're working and then it's coming out as Courier New, you might want to check and make sure that this button hasn't been checked. Override all fonts with that. There's also, where is it? Might be, so one of the reasons you're probably having that problem is that that's kind of like an industry standard, and you probably have unknowingly set one of these formats. So if you can go to manuscript format, you can choose what actually prints. Here you can, this is like the quick version. So here's where you can see you can compile it for print or PDF. I almost always put it into Word because I like to scroll through it and look at what it's going to look like when I send it to my editor.
So this is under
at the
where
bottom.
Where did you find it?
So I clicked on compile, and then I'm in the summary version. And then under compile for, you have everything you can compile for, and it's actually quite a long list. So you can compile for Kindle or e-publishing or open.
Cool.
I mean,
so what? Say we're going to do it for Word.
Yeah. So let's do Word docx. Okay. And we'll go ahead and click compile. And why don't we put it on the desktop next to
everything else?
Everything else. Okay. And it'll export. Our giant beach ball.
Yeah, boy, isn't that terrifying? The beach ball is terrifying in any way, and
so in Word we should have Hitchhiking the Sunset Strip right here, and you'll see when you open it. So it automatically gives you your front matter in Courier.
So then you have to change it here.
Yeah, I think there is a way to do it in Scrivener. Again, I'm not an expert in exporting in Scrivener because I usually just do to Word and then scroll through it just to make sure that it looks like I want it to look.
But it is Scrivener, even this is Word.
Yeah, but if you wanted it to export to into a different font, I'm not sure. I think there is a way to do that. So you have to
change it. So this is where I would change it back to.
Just do like a Control All.
Back to.
And then
here's
I don't know where your fonts are. Okay. So.
And then you just go down to times. Yeah, because Times New Roman is just, and that's standard. People haven't
Yeah.
used Courier since
So it's a little old.
since computers began.
I think there
There it
is. Oh, I guess I could have done New Roman.
There you go.
So that would be an easy fix. But I think there is a way to change what text it exports into. I'm
All
just
right.
not seeing
So
it.
we'll dig around. We'll dig around on that one, and we will put it in notes.
So if you do a quick font overdrive, you can actually set it to be in Times New Roman. Sorry, I missed that when we first looked at it.
Quick font override. And that's on the compile menu.
Yeah, so in the compile menu, if you go to all options, go to the quick font, and then you can override. And shall we do it just to see if it comes out in Times? And
so Max is saying there is a way. I'm not with my computer, but you can click on options before you export the type.
Oh, okay.
Very cool. Thanks, Max.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, it's also very like Scrivener to have many ways to do things. So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
So that's good. So whatever you can find is okay. You're giving us permission.
Here's one we just did. Let's see if it came out like we wanted. And there it is. In Times New Roman.
Much better.
Okay.
Awesome. So say where we got your answer. Anybody else have a question about how this all works?
Oh, we were going to talk a little bit about the notes section, right?
Notes, yeah. Okay.
Let's do that. So I'll
tell us about notes.
Let's see if we can scan out a little.
Or you can go in.
I'm going to scan in a little bit here. So this right here is to get to your notes section. So you have different things. You can make comments to yourself. Oops. Comments
is
to
that
yourself
like
here.
track changes? Or
it's kind of.
Or it's like side notes.
Like if you wanted to make research this.
Oh.
Hard to type and hold it all.
We need voice activation.
Yeah, so you can make comments to yourself here. There's a lot of stuff here.
And so that will tie, when you go to this, it will tell you that's the note that goes with that.
Yeah.
So what if I have another note? What if I have Stephanie?
Yeah.
And I'd say, change name.
Oops, this giant cursor.
Sometimes you have to change a name.
Yeah. So plus and then
change name.
Come on. Change name.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So will it tell you which of these things you're dealing with?
So if you click on it, it kind of you see a box kind of forms around it. So that's an easy way to know. And then once you've addressed it, there's a little X here. It's kind of hard to see, but you just click on it and it removes that note.
Okay.
Or it should.
So change Stephanie to. Sometimes you've changed a character's name, but then you forget to change it elsewhere.
Change it everywhere. I do that a lot. So that's comments, but the notes section is also up in this little row here.
Oh, so that's comments.
That's comments, like notes to yourself. I guess they call it comments just to distinguish it. The notes is actually a different, and again, falls under there are many ways to do things. So whatever works for you. If you would rather make notes in this little section down here, this is kind of a general place to make notes. So you can't highlight and then tie it directly to this section, but if you have a note for the whole chapter, you can make it to yourself there.
Right. So what happens with this is like if you say seems sluggish. Chapter seems sluggish.
Yeah.
Or what's the change?
Or lagging here.
Yeah.
It's just making notes to yourself. But the other thing you can do...
And that'll stay on through the whole project. Oh, there's Jim.
Yeah. The other thing you can do in this notes section is throw some pictures in there. Now, these are, again, you can't really reference them as easily, but if you just kind of want to have them there, you can just kind of...
Yeah, or you can have maybe the characters in the scene.
Right.
You could have the 3 or 4 characters in your scene just sort of as a presence. And that doesn't remove them from... It doesn't remove
we should zoom out so everyone can see what we did here.
Yeah, so it doesn't remove it from here. It opens it and just has them in the chapter, say if you want your cast of characters for that scene
so let's
on
do
the
that
side.
Again. So you can move things from here to here if you want to see them. And then you can scroll. You can drop a bunch of stuff in there, but then you have to scroll up and down to see it.
Right.
Another neat trick you can do when you're writing is you can actually drop things right into here. And then, of course, you want to resize that because that's crazy. But, like...
So if you're writing an article and you
Yeah.
want to have...
Yeah, or if you really just want to, like, not forget to look at something. You can, but you have to go back and take it out before you print it. Though, if you're writing nonfiction, this is how you would insert an image into the line of your draft.
Oh, you just drop and drag?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
so
awesome.
Pretty neat.
Yeah.
I've never tried to put a website over here. Let's see if that works. Oh, I guess it gives you a link here. I don't know if you guys can see that. So I dragged our research for LA 60s from over here. Let's see.
It's still there.
It's still here. I took this website, LA 60s, and I just dragged it. I clicked and dragged it over into our notes section. And so now this link is here. And if I click on that, it'll open it up for me to take a look at. So there's lots of, oops, and then I clicked the link again.
It's so responsive.
So there's lots of ways to take what is in your research folder and put it around into where you'll need it when you're writing.
Well, this has just been an incredible little tutorial. And if anybody has other, I want to thank April Davila for giving us this wonderful Scrivener tutorial. I know I'll be saving it and watching it again too, which I usually don't watch.
Oh, I should say too, on my website, every Monday I post like a little tip or trick. So if you are using Scrivener and you want to learn little snippets of how to do it better, my website is aprildavila.com, and every Monday I post I call it, it's called 52 Weeks of Scrivener. I started about 6 months ago. I'm about halfway through, but just little tricks.
Oh, cool. Well, I will put it in comments so you guys can have that. And Scrivener, I guess there's a 20% discount if you use April's name.
Yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you would like to ask about cool necklace, April?
Thanks. My husband got that for me to celebrate the book launch.
Yeah, so April's going to be all over the place. Diesel tonight, Skylight tomorrow. You're going to be in
San Francisco, Santa Rosa. I'm going to AWP if anyone's there. Drop me a line. And then Seattle and Portland.
Yeah. It'll be terrific. Congratulations on your book.
Thank you so much.
And we'll be back here next Wednesday with I don't know what. So we'll see you then and wish you good writing. Bye.